Welcome listeners to the second half of Chapter 1 of Storming Babylon, as we continue to put out weekly segments. A supernatural detective series set in the gritty streets of the 1940s. Follow Detective Dominic and his quick-witted partner and best pumpkin pal, Jackie, as they navigate the city's dark underbelly, tackling cases involving ghosts, ghouls, and all manner of supernatural creatures. As we continue the first book in Horrors and Hoagies, we will try to get the entire book out in segments over the following months.
Storming Babylon Chapter 1 Part 2.
Adam scratched absent-mindedly at the area where the youth had bumped into him. His damp clothing and chilled body had been enough to ignore the persistent itch before, but he noted its increasing presence by the moment. Dr. Koslov, still at the desk, made a bid to calm the twins.
Do not worry, we have come to see to minor affairs before the next meet. And besides, this place looks like a well-oiled machine. Now that our business has concluded in Europe, you may be seeing far more of us than you had been accustomed to.
It would overjoy us to be of greater service to the Baron anytime he needs.
A wet cough boomed through the lobby of the Babylon, shocking everyone in attendance. Koslov turned to find the source. He paled when he found Lord Stein gripping his chest and beginning to heave. Stein's usually tan complexion had grown frighteningly pale and could not find a breath. The twins immediately produced a glass of water and placed it in Koslov's hand, who tried to get his master to drink it. Panic spread through the lobby like wildfire as Stein continued to struggle, barely registering the ministrations of his doctor. Finding a moment after a hard-won breath, Stein downed the water clumsily. He was suddenly racked with another violent coughing fit. Koslov offered the man his handkerchief to cover his mouth, which he took with desperate abandon. Koslov quickly ushered his master to the nearby elevator and impatiently smashed the call button. In the half-minute it took for the car to arrive, he checked over his ailing master for any injuries and noticed his handkerchief was stained with thick, ropey saliva and bright, worryingly dark blood. Koslov had known something like this was possible. There had been a good reason he had stayed by Stein's side for decades. But this was sudden and unexpected. He needed to get his master to the lab and complete the examination hastily. The staff of the Babylon had built a mythos around their lord for years. He was an unfailing titan, larger than life and unflappable. He was perceived as a man beyond harm or the worries of mortal men, an unchanging and ageless philanthropist who steered the helm of their business with a firm and wise hand. Seeing him brought low so suddenly shook them all to their bones. Koslov was grateful for the elevator's arrival and shuffled his master inside quickly. The ailing man's breathing suddenly went ragged as he was propped against the inside wall of the car. The doctor hit the button before uncuffing and lifting Stein's sleeve to reveal the well-scarred arm beneath. Normally, the scars and stapling lining each one were of no concern. The real worry was the faint scent of decay and the black bruising spreading from a series of tiny spots in his forearm. It had all the signs of advanced necrosis. He concluded that it must be limb rejection due to some infection from an external source. The elevator chimed and the doors opened into the darkness of Stein's office. A torrent of rain assaulted the wall of glass opposite the elevator. A flash of lightning gave the room a sense of brief detail. Black marble walls boasted white veins. Leather sitting chairs faced one another before an imposing office desk, itself abutted by a small table hosting fine brandy and crystal glasses. Doors to smaller rooms and the elevator lined the wall. Spartan furnishings detailed the room as a place of business, including a globe, a mounted saber, and a pair of busts on plinths. Koslov hefted Stein's arm over his shoulder and carried his massive employer through the office to the imposing desk. During the journey, Stein had the opportunity to see the state of his arm.
It's a shame. This one had the finest fingers, the best I've had the pleasure to use in a century.
Koslov gently placed him in one of the nearby chairs and grumbled.
You should have let me check you over before we left.
Doctor, while I do not possess the same skill in medical matters you do, I can assure you that if I had thought my body was in such a sorry state, I would have told you.
Kozlov went about his evaluation with calm determination.
I'll need to get you an immediate replacement. I am sure someone nearby would be available who could provide. However, in the interest of expediency, it may involve methods you no longer condone.
Stein was recovering rapidly from his fit, enough that he caught the implication of Kozlov's words.
No, there will be no returning to the old ways, Artem. We do not prey on the innocent. We follow my father's code.
Kozlov's brow furrowed as he poured brandy into a pair of glasses.
Ino-san? Master, this is New York. I am sure we could find someone within a block who falls well outside your stipulation.
On his way to offer Stein a glass, his hand slid under the lip of the desk and depressed a hidden button. He sat across from his master as the desk slid to one side. A steel slab on an expanding assembly rose from the floor to replace the desk. Various trays and drawers were attached to the bottom of the slab. Once it locked into place, a ring of theater lights above shocked the room, bathing the slab in a sterile light. The soft buzzing from pumps and battery priming filled the large void in the office as a backdrop to the continuing conversation. Stein continued.
Father never harmed anyone. He took from the dead in a quest to aid the living up to his very death. In my heart, I know he was right in this decision.
Artem continued.
You have had many hearts since your father met his untimely end, Master. Perhaps your mind has changed more than your heart.
Your sarcasm will not sway me, Artem. No robbery, no theft, and no murder. We are above that now. I am forever haunted by the years I spent stealing the lives and limbs of others without thought of who came to harm. These recent decades have been a boon. They have been an opportunity to contribute better things to the world around us. Don't throw away our attempt to be better than we were.
Your morals may be your undoing, Master. I fear for you.
Not morals per se, but seething hatred for what I know your family and I once were. I will no longer use my father's lessons for such savagery. His painstaking lessons gave me life, but I had to fight and learn, as all men must, to rise above the thing I once was. I have attained so much inspiration from our meager beginnings. So no, we find another way, and we must do it before the meeting.
Ha! The only thing we will be doing is surgery. As far as the rest, I doubt I will do what I can before the meet.
Artem stated with as much finality as he could muster. Adam tried to protest, but the doctor raised a hand to forestall any argument.
Once your arm is off, you are staying here to rest, to prepare. The full moon is only a few days off now.
Artem spared a glance out the window in hopes of finding the moon. His only reward was knowing its location. The rain prevented him from seeing any detail. As Artem began his ritual of scrubbing in before surgery, his thoughts turned dark.
People today still call your father a necromancer because of that unflattering account by the Shelley girl.
He said.
They've never pitied us, just blindly hated us for a man's noble intentions. The unthinking masses cry out for blood when they feel the pull of the mob mentality. They did it to our fathers, and they will do it to us, given time.
Artem shook his hands and put on an apron.
To them, everything we do is evil.
The giant of a man tried to compose his thoughts.
Easily manipulated people should not be a target of your hate. Such people will be with us until the end of time. Even if I desired to fight them, they would simply overtake me through sheer numbers and the swift breeding of their ideas. They choose to remain ignorant, because the alternative may drive them mad. Truth is not kind to one's sanity, after all.
Artem offered his hand to his lord, who used it to rise from his chair. The doctor guided Stein to the slab before helping him up on it.
Time to care for your arm, Master.